and it's time to change the White House to the President's house. This is ridiculous, to call the place where the President of the United States lives the White House. It sends the wrong message. It says, I remember when Richard Nixon said to a group of reporters, "I'm trying to save the White House for you white people." That says it all. And at that moment I thought, well, wait a minute. Now this is something that has to be changed, and it has to be changed. Nothing can stop an idea whose time has come. It's time to change the name of the White House to the President's house, or the President's residence, which has a nice ring to it, don't you think?
Hello Internet, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Today I still have my usual guest again, and this is Evans from Kenya.
Yes.
You might have seen him before in this channel, but just in case this is your first time to meet him, he will take a minute to introduce himself before we rock and roll.
Okay. I'm Evans from Kenya. Check out my channel. I do similar content as Simon, and support my boy here.
Thank you very much, Evans. So I will put his the link to his channel in my description, so you can go out and check out his very nice content. So without wasting much time, today we are going to just react on a video that we came across recently, and we are going to share this video with you, watch it together, and then we shall come back here after the video and give our honest verdict or an analysis of this video. So without wasting much time, let's dive into the video, and then we'll be back in.
Yeah.
All right.
Now, we often hear about reverse racism now.
There's no such thing as reverse racism. There's no such thing as reverse racism. You can only be a racist if you have the power to institutionalize what you're doing to people who are different from you. What we're calling reverse racism is natural reaction to being treated unfairly on the basis of somebody else's ignorance. Now, don't ever let anybody say to you or about anyone around you that people don't like that person because of the color of their skin. That isn't the reason white people don't like people of color. They don't like people of color because they don't understand about skin color. And they don't understand that we all are descendants of somebody who looked like your mother. Now, I'm going to get lots of angry responses to that one. And I understand that. But I'm reading a book right now. Everybody that's watching this has to read this book on tyranny. 20 things that we've learned over the last 100 years in this country that have put us in the position we're in now, and what we can do about it. Everybody has to read this book. They should read this book first, and then they should read The Myth of Race by Robert Wald Sussman. And once you've read The Myth of Race, you will never, ever again go along with the idea that there are 3 or 4 or 5 different races. It was a lie made up by the people who ran the Spanish Inquisition. And before that, there were different colors, but race had nothing to do. There was only one race, the human race. We made that whole thing up. It's time to get rid of it. We have the power to do that. This country got ready for World War II in about 6 months. And you're telling me that we can't destroy racism? White people created racism. Anything you create, you can destroy. God created human beings, the human race, and they started out black women. White people created racism. Human beings created racism. It's time to get over it.
Elliott. Today, most urban sectors, especially Milwaukee, remains hyper-segregated. Why is it taking so long, or why doesn't it seem like we can move the button on diversity in neighborhoods?
Because the people who have the power in this country are the people who have the money. And the people who have the money are going to decide where people live. You need to realize that there are more children attending segregated schools in the United States today than there were previous to Brown versus Board of Education. And that's a fact. You need to realize that it is not the intent of white people to let this situation change in favor of anyone but themselves. And right now, white people are really frightened. If you don't understand the destruction of Planned Parenthood offices, and you don't understand the wall that we're going to build on the southern border of the United States, you haven't read the book The Birth Dearth by Ben Wattenberg. Ben Wattenberg was a brilliant Jewish man who was a member of the American Enterprise Institute, and he wrote a book, the first paragraph of which says, The main problem confronting the United States today is there aren't enough white babies being born in this country. He was an advisor to presidents of the United States. He wrote the book in 1987. He says if we don't change this and change it rapidly, white people will lose their numerical majority in this country, and this will no longer be a white man's land. Now, I'm not misrepresenting this. I'm telling you exactly, almost exactly what he says. He says there are 3 things we can do to solve this. Number 1, we could pay women to have babies, as they have been doing in Western European nations for years. Then he says, and these are his words, not mine, unfortunately, we would have to pay women of all colors to have babies, so we don't want to do that. He says the second thing we could do is increase the number of legal immigrants that are allowed into this country every year. Then once again he says, unfortunately, the vast majority of those wanting to come to this country today are people of color, so we don't want to do that. The third thing he says, and white women had better pay attention to this, 60% of the fetuses that are aborted every year are white. If we could keep that 60% alive, that would solve our birth dearth. Does that sound like racism to you? And if it doesn't, I want to know why it doesn't. If it doesn't, you don't understand what racism is. And I think it does.
Right. A lot of people don't understand the trauma associated with race and racism. Can you talk a little bit about the trauma associated with?
The trauma associated with it?
Yeah.
One of the main traumas is it tells white people that they are superior because of the lack of melanin in their skin. And then they find out suddenly that we've got a black president. That's traumatic. That's where their trauma is. Living a lie.
Never had such a speech, bro.
This is a very profound and deep video, as you might have heard. For those who don't know who this is Jane Elliott. Jane Elliott is a scholar, or is an American educator who is very vocal about the whole story of
Jane Elliott.
Yes, Jane Elliott, huh?
You know, I've never heard of the name before.
You need to check Jane Elliott out, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, she's an old white lady. She's very vocal about the whole story of, fighting racism. And as you might have heard from her, it is a white man that created racism. We have people of different skin color. The skin tone will always be different. Even mine and yours don't exactly look the same.
There is a different shade.
There could always be a small difference. But what we have today as racism is what was created by a white man.
Yeah.
And she says clearly, if we created it, we can destroy it. And we have to destroy it.
Yeah.
So my brother,
one thing I've liked, okay, just ask me the question first.
yeah, I was just going to ask you what you might have deciphered from.
There's a lot of revelation. First of all, you said what I really believe is true. Yesterday you did a video where a white person was saying that the white people should prepare for war against the Africans. They see impending danger. Something we don't see any danger. We don't see us projecting danger to them.
No.
But they feel like they are endangered right now, and they should take protection. They are now becoming defensive.
And prepare for a war.
Whatever Jane Elliott, she's a brilliant lady. Jane Elliott is a very brilliant lady. And I really love it when somebody is always not on the fence, particularly on the places, on the side where her origin is.
Yes.
I did a video on Tim Wise. Tim Wise also is like this lady. And this lady, Jane Elliott, is discussing something about the white people are afraid they don't have enough white people.
Yeah.
And they feel like their population is decreasing, and the colored people population is increasing. Like right now, we have 3 major people in USA in terms of population. We have the Caucasians, we have the Hispanic, and then we have the black people.
Black.
We also have other people, Chinese, Indians, we have all these, but I'm speaking of larger quantities.
Yeah.
Now these 3 people, the white man is feeling less of himself because he is now feeling the population is going down. Same thing to the problem that Pharaoh had with the baby Moses, with the Israelites. He felt these people are increasing in my land. But remember, America is not a white man's land.
It's not a white man's land.
It's not.
They
it's not.
decimated the natives.
Yes.
The American Indians were
Yes,
called,
yes.
and the Alaskan natives,
Yes.
for their greed and selfish gain.
Yes.
Yeah. that is that is exactly where, let me just add to your point, that is the genesis of racism. It was greed and selfish interest that fueled the whole story of racism. Because during the transatlantic slave trade, the white man, when they, I call it, discovered the Americas, and they went there to farm the sugarcane and tobacco and everything else, they were looking for cheap labor that, fortunately or unfortunately, they found it in Africa. So it wasn't a point at any moment that the human beings that are lesser than others, but it was selfish businessmen that happened to be white people. After they decimated.
You said they were selfish. I understand they took those people away from their land. They killed a lot of them actually. They are selfish because they're also greedy. They don't want to pay their own to work for them. No, they're trying to find where they can find free, not cheap.
Free labor.
If you say
free forced labor.
Free forced labor. It's not even cheap. And also, Jane Elliott added to say, the White House has to be changed its name to President's House. It shouldn't be called white. There are some words in the English dictionary. The English dictionary. English is not a black man's language. We have our own languages. English is from England. It's not a language of America. That's why you have English USA, English Britain, English Australia, English South Africa. Why is this English attached to some countries? But the origin of it is England. The people of England speak English. We don't have French, USA, French, this and that. Now, in this specific English language, there are some words which are confirmed to be racist or have racist
connotation.
Have racist connotation.
We have assigned them some racial connotation, meaning.
And the person who was doing these word formations, he was not a fool. He knew there existed tension. He knew there existed differences between black and white. So he discussed that black will be attached to negative things and white to positive things. We have words such as blackmail. Right now we have the words such as White House. It shouldn't be okay. Imagine if the White House was called the Black House. What would it be to the people of America if it's called Black House? Doesn't make sense. But it makes sense. If white makes sense, black has to make sense.
Should make sense.
It should, because they are all colors. Now it should be changed, maybe white and a black house. Or rather, to remove the...
And call it a president's house, like Jane Elliott has suggested.
Like Jane Elliott has suggested. These people are getting worried, brother.
The point is this. Sometimes a word might have existed, even maybe if we had English language existing way before slavery and therefore racism. But over time we have come to assign certain words certain connotative meanings instead of their original meanings. And then therefore, today, in today's age, we need to be sensitive. We need to realize words that are rather not fair, just like we do when it comes to sex. Today there are words that we feel like we don't use because they are sexist, We should also, in fighting racism, we should categorize a few words as sensitive words, and we stop using them. Why is blackmail, like I've said, why is it a negative? What if we called it
white mail?
White mail.
Or purple mail.
Or any other color,
but
exactly.
They chose, normally if you say white, normally I believe colors don't have opposites. Colors do not have, what is the opposite of yellow, bro?
I don't really think there is an opposite for yellow.
But we, like this yellow I'm putting on does not have we can't say the opposite of yellow is you are gray.
No.
But we've kinda, in a way, attached opposite of white to be black.
Black, yeah.
But all these are colors. Unless they want colors, they are something else.
There's something else you have mentioned again, no? In a fair fight for equality, racial equality, and racial equity, we need to all pool our resources, huh? And we always say that the black man will have to stand for themselves, because if we don't stand for ourselves, no one will. But because we are all a human race, it makes sense when someone is, even if I am black, but there is an unjust, I mean, there is injustice being carried out by black people, I have to call it out. We need to not take sides. Just because I'm black, I will side with the black people. I need to side with the truth. Like you have mentioned, or like what Jen Elliott is currently doing.
It's a nice one, yeah.
We need to fight for one another. We need to stop the notion of being good. We need to call out other things. If it is bad, it's bad. Sometimes other things that fuel racism is us playing good people. We don't want trouble, you know, and we see things happening, and we need to talk. We need to stop playing good people. If we see a case of racism, let's call it out, and let's say that this and this is not right.
You know, one thing that really does not settle with me, with what the white people are doing, though, a lot of negative things always come from the West. A lot of them. Think of it. We have HIV/AIDS. We have Corona. We have the gay thing. We have this pregnancy, abortion. The person said 60% of those babies who are aborted are white. 60% are white. And so they're bringing that idea into Africa, telling them, you go and abort. Abortion is normal. This and that. They are cultivating that idea to reduce the population. And now they have realized they're running out of human resource, white human resource, because they are thinking of pumping those white people as much as they can. They can't just magically appear.
They cannot.
But at the same time, they don't want to create babies for their own. They want the easiest work possible. These people are cornered. They feel they're cornered. Let's try and bring some people to immigrate into our countries. We don't have white people moving there. We have Africans who are so much eager
and willing to go there.
Even to kill themselves to go there.
Yes.
People are committing dangerous missions in the Mediterranean.
Just to cross to Italy.
Just to cross to Italy and go to Europe. If they would cross even the Atlantic. It's only that the Mediterranean is shorter.
Yeah. It's dangerous, man.
Somehow we need to realize who we are as black people in this face of the earth. And the whole idea, I think the basis of this video is that race is an artificial construct.
Exactly.
It was constructed by those people called the Spanish. The Spaniards are the first colonizers. You know, we speak of colonizers, we only think of the British and the French and the Germans. The Spaniards are the first people to do the colonization thing. And so they are the first to be blamed. And they introduced this race thing to effectively employ their activities.
That is, I think, in Central and South America.
Yes.
Now, you see, one other thing we need to realize, or maybe the white man needs to realize, maybe all of us will have to realize, is we need to know when we are being racist. Sometimes we fail to recognize.
We might act out of our own selves.
Because when you start thinking about superiority in terms of, if you think you're a better human being, just because of your skin color, you know, you stop being a better person in many other ways. Because you already automatically think you're
better.
You're good. And what is happening is I, the black person, because we'll see what you're doing, which is not good, I will continue to become a better and better person. And now someone is frightened. So you cannot just think you are a better human being because of your skin color and sit there and relax and think it's enough. We need to keep improving. We need to continue being better people. Another thing that I personally think sometimes has fueled racism, there's scapegoating, especially when
putting someone at fault.
Putting someone, just getting someone to put at fault. So, but what I thought we could talk about in this video, because we can never tire of doing the right thing. We have to keep, and the media as well. You know, the propagation we have in the media, we have to really call out when the media is being a perfect example I could give is when a white guy recently suggested the subdivision of
Cape Town.
yeah, South Africa into two different states. In a certain media house, I can't remember what it was. A white man was interviewing and asking him about his plan, and he said, if you succeed with that plan of dividing South Africa to have the Western Cape as an independent country, you might have many of us coming to live there. What did that really mean? So if the white man subdivides South Africa, now they have the liberty to come. Is it that they feel threatened to come right now when South Africa is a united country?
Bro, let me tell you something.
Go ahead.
Africa belongs to Africans. I believe and I say the president of Senegal reminded people,
Yeah.
Africa belongs to Africans.
No one else.
There is no way I would go to your house and make space for myself. This is my corner.
Yeah.
And no way shall you ever come here. But you are the one who pays the rent. It can never happen.
Yeah.
Africans belong here. Africans are the ones who pay rent for this. We were placed here by God.
Yes.
The Europeans were placed in Europe. The Americans were placed in America. Why then do we have these names, European, African? Can you be called an African and you're living in Australia and you are born, you found yourself in Australia? There has to be somewhere where you belong, somewhere where we can trace you. And the woman, the thing which is happening in South Africa is, let me tell you, when this thing happens, getting into that Western Cape whatsoever thing will be so hard for a black person. And it will be a hotspot of apartheid.
Yes.
It will be a hub which will be radiating apartheid. You go there, you'll always see machine guns on the fence and bulldogs. You can never get there. It will be so hard, and it will be Africa. The sad part, it will be done in Africa.
Yes.
In your own compound, somebody doing that, an invader. You know, these things ain't right. And the woman was trying to explain there's a difference between racism and reverse racism. And she said lots of the white people are complaining of reverse racism.
Yeah.
And so, because we did bad with your parents during apartheid, now you want to pay back. This person is afraid of living with the black people because of what he did to them.
Actually, Jane Elliott says there is nothing like reverse racism. It's just it's a reaction of, for example, if I did step on your foot, you had to react because it's not a pleasant thing I did to you, right?
And it's involuntary.
It is involuntary. Exactly. That is the word. It is just an involuntary, it's an instinctive reaction to what people should do when put in such a place.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think, brother, as we conclude this video, it's time we realize that we, human beings, or the white man, manufactured racism. And it is time for both the black man and even the white man to join in the bandwagon to call off racism. It's fine to have whatever skin color you have. Those are just simple adaptations, you know, and it is okay. We have our melanated skin because it is an adaptation to, you know, living under this beautiful weather that we are staying, we experience here every day, you know. If you have another kind of adaptation because you need that biologically to survive in whatever place in this world that you are living, then it is okay. But we do not have to use that as a tool because in this video by Jane Elliott, she has also suggested that we need to read The Myth of Race by
She says really nice books.
Yeah.
I've never heard of those books.
So there's this book known as it's called the Myth of Race. It's by a professor.
You've read it?
Yeah, I have read a little bit of it, of a book. It's by someone who is this? Someone Sussman, yeah. And he talks about the fact that, and many scholars have already talked about the lack of basis, biological basis, by people trying to associate race with a certain race with certain certain attributes like aggression or intelligence. You know, there is no basis completely. That has been debunked a long time ago. You know. So my brother, I think that is what we had for this video. Unless you have a final check.
Just check out my channel on Evans from Kenya.
Yes.
And support my boy here.
Yeah.
He really has good content.
Yes. So that is it for today and for this video. I will, as always, link this video to his channel.
Yeah.
So you can also check out on what he does. He does amazing content like this. So let's also support him, subscribe, watch his content, and support.
Support goes both ways. Eh?
Yes.
Yeah.
Until next time,
See you.
peace.